So the products you're gonna need a spoolie brush. This one's just from Morphe. It's the MB28, and obviously a bar of soap. This one I got at Walmart. It was $1 and it's cruelty free. I really like this bar of soap though because it doesn't get too soapy. It's one of those soaps that when you wash your hands it leaves it kind of like dry, but it works perfect for this because if you get a spoolie and you start brushing it onto your bar of soap and there's like chunks of soap that stay on the brush, when you go in and brush your eyebrows, it's gonna leave those chunks in there and it's gonna make it so it's not easy to fill in your eyebrows. I like it to be like completely coated in the soap, so I just go in. It needs to be wet because I'm just gonna take this water bottle and wet the bar of soap. It needs to be wet because if it's not wet, then chunks of soap will stay on the spoolie and you're not gonna get the best results. So completely coat the spoolie in the soap. So that should be good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and brush my eyebrows. I brush them all the way up, and I'll show you in a second why I do this. And do one eyebrow at a time so you don't let the soap dry. If you do, it's gonna be hard to like move your eyebrows around. So then after I go all the way up, then I take my brush and I sweep it across the top. And it kind of just creates like a line above your brows with your own hair. The eyebrows stay up, the hair stays up, but it doesn't look too crazy. You just kind of straighten it out with your brush up at the top. If you wait too long, like if you brush your eyebrows upwards and then go in and brush this one upwards and let this dry, it's gonna be really hard to straighten it out. The eyebrow hairs are gonna like stay sticking up from the soap. So just move them around until you get like the shape you like. So that's how I apply the soap onto my eyebrows. The next thing I like to do is I like to take my beauty blender, my wet beauty blender, and I kind of like to just go over the brow with it just to kind of settle in the soap in a way. I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I feel like I need to do this because if not, there's too much soap on my brows and it's kind of hard to apply the eyebrow product or what I use to fill in my brows. And then this is really important too. I usually take either my beauty blender or just a makeup remover towel or whatever. And I like to go above and on top of my eyebrows to remove any like extra soap. Because usually I do my eyebrows before I do my foundation. I just did my foundation this time because of the video, but usually I start off with my eyebrows. And so I like to go in and remove the extra soap that I get on top and on the bottom of my eyebrows, because if you forget to do this and then you go in with your foundation isn't gonna look good around this area. It's gonna look chunky with the bar of soap, with like the soap pieces. The soap and the foundation don't mix well. So make sure you take off all the extra soap you have around your eyebrows. I'm just gonna do this just to like show you guys, but I already have foundation, so I'm basically just taking off my foundation. But this is what I do. Then just go in again with my beauty blender. So now I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows. I'm gonna be using the Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown. I've also used brow powder when I use soap in my brows, and that also works. I don't know how a brow pencil would work, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like it'd be too waxy, and too much wax and soap wouldn't mix well. But the brush I'm using is just this Ardell flat angled brush. This one came in a eyebrow powder kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the brow pomade, and every time I get product onto my brush, I always like to take my fingers because it's not like the flattest brush. So if you have a angled brush but it's not like too straight or flat, I just like to take my fingers and make it flat, and it works really well with the pomade since it's so like thick. It like really makes the brush flat. So first thing I'm gonna do is I like to create an outline. So I'm gonna start off, actually I'm gonna start off with this brow. I like to start right in the middle and then take it out to the tail. So as you can see, I'm slowly starting to create the shape, and you don't have to follow exactly where your eyebrow hairs are. As you can see right there, I have no eyebrow there, but I kind of wanted to go along this angle right here. So I just create my own shape and then I fill in the empty gaps with the pomade. So after I create the outline for the bottom of one of my eyebrows, I like to do the bottom of the next eyebrows before I move on to the top. And what I usually do is I look straight ahead into a mirror. Ugh, this one's dirty, but I like to look straight ahead into a mirror and really make sure that they're even. So I like to start it off, like to look and see where this eyebrow starts and try to make this side as even as possible. So see, there's like absolutely no eyebrow there, but we're gonna fix that with the pomade. That's why I like the pomade. If you prefer thicker brows and you're gonna be trying this technique out, I recommend using a pomade because I feel like it really fills in those gaps with like a lot of pigment. If you already have full brows, or if you aren't going for like a thick look for your brows, you can use the did I say before? Eyeshadow, well, not eyeshadow, eyebrow powder. I feel like that'll work, because if you fill this area in with powder, it's not gonna look realistic. It's gonna look like you just put powder on your brows. So as you can see, it's a pretty thick eyebrow, but it's gonna look really nice now that they're like fluffy and feathery. So now to fill them in, I like to start off with like the areas that are super empty. So like on this brow, the whole entire bottom of my brow, and I just start filling it in like so with the pomade. So once that area is pretty much filled, now is when I go ahead and start kind of filling in my brows more precisely and making it look like hair. So this is where I start taking my brush upwards to make it look like hair. So I like to start at the front, and I take my brush and I go directly upwards. Do you guys prefer this background, like just white, or my room? Like when I watch YouTube tutorials, I prefer to be staring at their room rather than a white wall, but my room isn't cute. So I don't know what you guys prefer, if you guys prefer to be seeing my uncute room or just white. Let me know. Okay, so they're pretty much done. Usually at the end, I'll go back in and really analyze them and see if I have like any other empty spaces in my brows that I need to fill in. But for now, they look fine. So the last step for this is I like to take this brush. It's the Morphe E43. It's a super flat brush. And I use this to carve out my eyebrows. And I just take my regular concealer. I use the the Tarte Shape Tape, and I just take a little bit and I'll put it on the back of my hand, and I'll just grab some with the brush, not too much, go little by little. And what I like to do, I feel like sometimes as soon as you apply product onto the brush and you go straight in and you start drawing the line, you have a little bit too much product onto your brush that it kind of clumps up right underneath the brow and it looks too harsh. So it looks extra bright, like a straight like white line underneath your brow. So to avoid that, if you know what I mean, I feel like sometimes I do that and I'll look back in pictures and I'll have like a white line underneath my brow. So to avoid that, I just take the product and I'll go right underneath my brow. So I don't actually go directly underneath the brow. I just take some of the product and kind of just start placing it there. And then slowly I'll start taking that product upwards and kind of distribute just like a little bit of the product underneath my brow so it doesn't look too harsh.
So just like that.
So now I'm going to do the same at the top. And again, just apply some of the product above the brow. See, if I were to do that directly right here, see that line? It would be like right there and it would look really bad.
So now,
for the bottom, I just take like a fluffy brush and really blend out the concealer. So now I'm going to take this same brush that I used to clean up my brows, and I'm going to take whatever concealer's left and do upward strokes up at the front. And I feel like this is going to help create like a space between the actual eyebrow product and make it look a little bit more faded and not too boxy. And now I'm just gonna take my beauty blender and really set that there. Go back in with the angled brush I used to fill them in and just define the outline a little bit more. Okay guys, so that completes this tutorial. I hope you guys really liked it and found it easy to follow along. I know I've made a million other eyebrow tutorial videos, but I really wanted to show you guys how I use the bar of soap. And if you guys have any requests for other videos, let me know. If you liked this one, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.